After listening to such eminent speakers, now it's time for something that's going to be fun. It's time for our talented MSc students to share insights from their own sadhana in yoga. They have worked very hard to also put together a yoga session for us. I request all of you to roll out your mats, gear up for some stretches, and cheer and encourage your fellow students by turning your cameras on. I'm going to hand over the platform now to Miss Ria Dedia to take this event forward.
Thank you, Juhi. Namaste. Wishing you all a very happy International Yoga Day. We MS students are here to share a secret of holistic well-being with all of you. Our bodies are our temple. We should always endeavor to keep it pure and clean for the soul to reside in. When one listens to oneself, everything comes naturally from inside. The energy, strength, and the beauty to body, mind, and soul, which is yoga. Thus, yoga is an amalgamation of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well being. Having said so, I would like to put that yoga is a way of living. I understand that we as students have a lot of challenges like exams, self-esteem, relationship problems, depression, anxiety, stress, assignments, and so on. But I assure you that by the end of this session, you will get answers to majority of your challenges. Today, yoga is often practiced as being physical practices of asanas, but yoga is a balance of body, mind, and soul. Its benefits are way beyond the physical well being. Some of them include it boosts our immune system, improves our lung capacity, there's better quality sleep, stabilizes our mood, brings harmony to life, reduces stress and anxiety, reduces pains, and there is better digestion.
Maharshi Patanjali, who lived thousands of years ago, gave us the Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga, as the name suggests, is made of two parts, that is Asht and Anga, which means 8 steps of yoga. They are Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. They are divided into two parts, that is internal disciplines and the external disciplines. The internal disciplines includes the last four, that is Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. But to achieve those internal principles, we have to focus on the first four external disciplines, that is Yam, Niyam, Asan, and Pranayam. Yamas are self-restraints and niyamas are observances. Yamas are how we treat others, whereas niyamas are how we treat self. They are moral guidelines which help us in maintaining a meaningful life. There are 5 yamas, namely ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. Ahimsa means non-violence. It refers to minimizing the amount of harm that you cause to yourself as well as to others in thoughts, words, and deeds. It also includes being aware of the things that may harm others and consciously behaving to reduce the amount of harm. Satya means truthfulness, always speaking the truth. Before speaking anything, ask yourself these 3 questions. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? Also remember, truthfulness does not always mean being blunt. Remember, in Ahimsa, we learned that we should also not harm others even with our words. Next is Asteya or non-stealing. This does not refer to only materialistic things, but also to someone's time, energy, and hard work. For example, in a group project, you take credit for something that you did not do at all. That's also stealing. Yoga and yogic practices tell that we should not steal even someone's ideas. Next is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, in simpler terms, means moderation. Yoga and yogic practices discourages overindulgence in anything. This does not just refer to physical aspects, but also to things such as food. Brahmacharya may also mean being faithful. Next is aparigraha or non-hoarding, avoiding hoarding and greediness. It also refers to not being possessed by your possessions. Being too attached to things or desiring too many things may lead to a sense of lack in our own mind. Next are five niyams. They are Shauch, Santosh, Tapas, Swadhyay, and Ishwar Paridhan. Shauch does not refer to just a clean body, but it also refers to a clean diet and a clean soul. It also refers to a clean mind and clean company, that is, being in company of people who uplift your spirit and inspire you, and letting go of the people that are toxic to you. Next is Santosh, that is being content with whatever reality you are in right now. The next is Tapas, is doing your best with the help of a disciplined lifestyle. Tapas basically means having discipline in your day to day life. Next is Swadhyay or self study, being completely aware of what all things are happening in and around you. And if possible, creating a positive environment in whatever ways you can. Next is Ishwar Paridhan or surrender, surrendering to the life force and the divine. That is surrendering and devotion and letting go of doubt in your mind to make room for faith. The yogachar or yogic lifestyle is dependent on four pillars. They are achar, vichar, ahar, and vihar. Achar is our conduct or routine. Yogic principles of yam and niyam control the desires and emotions and help us bringing peace and harmony. Vichar relates to our thoughts. Yogic practices like pratyahara, dhyana help us in controlling these thoughts and promoting optimism in our life. Ahar refers to proper quality and quantity of food and also our state of mind when we are having food. Vihar refers to exercise and recreational activities. It also includes the sleep. Sound sleep is equally important for achieving relaxation in our life.
So let's go to the ahar part. Are we eating right? Because what we eat, we become. Food we eat will impact us on the emotional, mental, and spiritual level. Yogic diet, which comprises of three gunas, which are sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Any living being has gunas, and it is one of the three properties of mind, body, and soul. In Chandalya Upanishad, it is written that people with a pure mind prefer sattvic food, which emphasizes on eating such foods purifies the mind. So let's go to the diet and gunas part. First, sattvic food, which means purity and harmony, which include foods like rice, wheat, fresh vegetables, fruits, roasted seeds, nuts, buttermilk, curd, and spices like ginger, dalchini, coriander, and haldi. Second, Rajasic food, which means it gives stress, anger, rebellious, and the food which are meat, fish, extremely spicy and salty foods, potato, cabbage, broccoli, jam, jellies, wine, alcohol, sodas, fried foods, sour milk, and spices like chilies, garlic, onion, and pickles. Third, tamasic food, which means dullness and laziness. Foods like white flour, overnight cooked foods, canned and tinned foods, preservative foods, too cold milk or curd, or white sugar. Diet today is completely influenced by tamasic predominant Western culture. Always aim to increase the sattvic food to nurture. What happens if we eat more tamasic or rajasic food? Rajasic food, which are known as Raja's food, which disturbs the mind and body, and mind becomes more restless and strive to full passion. Such a diet produces a brilliant energy, but in a long run it leads to pain and grief. Tamasic food. These foods lead to accumulation of toxic, which leads to the more chronic diseases like obesity and heart diseases. This makes the patient a person lazy, dull, and the mind with full of negative emotions like anger, etc.
Sattvic diet. So, Sattvic diet is a pure vegetarian diet which includes seasonal fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, whole grains, pulses, and preferably sprouted pulses, dried nuts, and which are free from animal rennet. These food helps to raise the consciousness level of an individual, and these foods need to be eaten and cooked with lots of love, gratitude, and awareness. A sattvic person is more of calm, peaceful, full of energy and enthusiasm. And one of the added advantage of the sattvic diet is that it helps to maintain the weight and it is also helpful in weight loss. So we'll see the significance of the sattvic diet. Sattvic diet helps to strengthen the immune system and protects us from a lifestyle diseases such as diabetes, obesity, and heart-related conditions. It also helps to energize the mind and the body. It is easier to digest. It is helpful in constipation. It nourishes the tissue with its nutritional density. It helps to cleanse the body. Also, it utilizes the six tests, which are sweet, salty, sour, bitter, pungent, and astringent, wherein it helps to balance all the three gunas, where are sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. We'll see certain nutritional properties of the sattvic diet. Majority of the foods are rich in calcium. They have pro and prebiotic properties. They are rich in antioxidant and they are low in glycemic index, wherein it helps can be helpful for diabetic individual. It also contains oligosaccharides and polysaccharides which are gut friendly. They are rich in fiber, vitamin C, polyphenol, and exhibit functional properties wherein they are in anti-inflammatory benefits. Now we'll see certain recipes according to the meals of the day. So for early morning, according to the Upashana, it is recommended to consume a warm liquid in the early morning. So these are certain warm liquid recipes which can be consumed along with 5 to 6 soaked nuts. Breakfast. As we all know, breakfast is the major important meal of the day and it helps to maintain our metabolism throughout the day. So it should be a compact meal. So these are the recipes which can be consumed along with one seasonal fruit. For mid-morning, vitamin C helps to increase the iron absorption in the body. So vitamin C fruits can be consumed along with the recipes which are rich in iron. For lunch should be a compact meal wherein there should be a proper balance between carbohydrate, protein, and fiber. So these are the meals which can be consumed and along with that, 1 glass of buttermilk or curd can be consumed as it exhibit a probiotic benefits. For snacks, as we all know, population are prone to consume junk food, wafers or crackers in the evening snacks time. So these are the healthier options which can be opt instead of the unhealthy options. For dinner, it is said that dinner should be consumed 2 hours prior to your sleep, and the dinner should be in a lighter quantity as compared to the lunch. So these are the recipes which can be consumed for dinner. For bedtime, 1 glass of turmeric milk or 1 glass of cinnamon milk has been reported to have a benefit wherein it helps to get a very sound sleep. So these are the drinks which can be consumed at the bedtime.
Moving on to the next pillar, that is achar, the routine. Achar is also a conduct with the external world, which is the first step of the eightfold path, that is the yamas that we saw earlier. Achar, the conduct, includes emotions, desires, attitudes, instincts, and habits. Right conduct is essential for a stress free life. Here, yoga is important as it encourages good conduct in our personal and social lives. Yoga advocates positive emotions and positive attitude towards self and other people. Yogic principles of the yamas and the niyamas help to develop control on our desires and emotions and bring harmony and peace. How often is that your day goes unplanned and
you get hassled with too much of work in the day. Or talking about the recent lockdown scenarios, which is sudden change from our basic style of living. All this has disturbed our routine, leading to confusion, anxiety, stress, and boredom. Our mental health and being are dependent on the routines, that is the achar. Regularity and sincerity are two major components of a good routine. A best example of following a routine is said to be the sun, which rises and sets daily without any excuses. So, plan your day in advance. Incorporate all your tasks for self, work, food, recreation, and sleep, as all of this is equally important. Also, continue with yoga, workouts, prayers, play with children, spend time with your family, play cabin, Scrabble, or any other indoor game. And the solution of many of our difficulties lies in setting out right habits and right routines, as correctly said by our former president, Dr. Abdul Kalam. You cannot change your future, but you can change your habits, and your habits will surely change your future.
The third pillar of yogic lifestyle is vichar, that is, thoughts. It's rightly said that जैसा सोचेंगे वैसा बनेंगे. Let me tell you an interesting fact. Did you know we have over 3,000 thoughts every hour? Yes, that's huge. And when we overthink, this number multiplies. After knowing this, it's even more important for us to know how our thoughts influence our results. As illustrated in this beautiful diagram, what we think determines what we believe. What we believe determines how we feel. And the way we feel influences the way we are going to act. Thus, our thoughts influences our feelings, which influences the actions we take and determines our results. But here, if you see, the irony is that our actions and results are visible, but we are not able to see our thoughts and feelings. Let me explain you by a simple example. If you constantly think that I am stupid, I'm definitely going to fail in exams, you would feel sad, frustrated, and stressed. And thus, you would take actions to not study and hang out with friends or binge on Netflix. And the results would be you fail. This would again be a vicious cycle, but it's important that we break the vicious cycle. So the factor here to be breaking is our thoughts. If we change our thoughts, automatically our results will change. But the next question which arises is, how do we change our thought? And the answer lies in reciting positive affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that can help you to change and overcome self-sabotaging and negative thoughts. Repeating them is very important. To summarize which are, think positive, as simple as that. The last pillar of yogic lifestyle is vihar, that is recreation. I know all of us are so tied up with commitments that we hardly have time for ourselves, and thus we end up not investing time in our hobbies. So I request you all to invest time in hobbies. It could be anything: painting, cooking, playing, spending time with family, and so on. One more important factor of Vihar is relaxation. Good quality sleep is equally important to relax your body, mind, and soul. Thus, it's important for us to practice all the principles of yoga. Now, I would like to pass on the stage to my colleagues, Dr. Priyal and Esha, to continue with demonstration of asanas. I would request all of you to please join us while doing the asanas and enjoy the yogic lifestyle. Over to you, Priyal and Esha.
Thank you, Ria. So after getting all the wonderful insights that we've learned in this deep yoga knowledge session, I would request my fellow friends to please switch on their videos and get up for the stretches. In this COVID pandemic, all of us are working from home. And due to poor ergonomic workstations, prolonged hours on the screen, we often feel a discomfort near our head and neck areas. So let us start with the head and neck asana, starting with neck rotations. Sit in any meditative posture. Rest your hands on the waist. Rotate your chin towards your right shoulder. Hold and start rotating your head in the anti-clockwise direction, slowly feeling a stretch. Repeat it for 3 rounds. Come back to the center. Now likewise, rotate your chin to your left shoulder and start rotating in the clockwise direction. Be gentle and feel the stretch. Now, bend your neck forward in front, pressing your neck towards the chest. Hold for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Now, bring your chin parallel to the ground and bend your neck backwards with your eyes gazing towards the ceiling. Come back to rest. Now, let us move on to the next position, which is the Skand Chakra or the shoulder rotation. Place your fingers on your shoulder. Fully rotate both the elbows at the same time. Inhale while going up, exhale while coming down. Do this for 3 times in the clockwise direction and 3 times in the anti-clockwise direction. Try to touch your elbows in the front of the chest while moving up and touch your trunk while coming down. After we are done up with these warm-up sessions, let us move on to a few sitting asanas, starting with Vajrasana. Spread your legs straight on the mat. Now move your right leg backwards towards your right buttocks. Similarly for your left leg. Keep your back straight, chin erect, parallel to the ground, chest forward, abdomen in normal contour. Place your hands upon your respective knees. The leg should be flat on the ground. Close your eyes and breathe. 1, 2, 3. Slowly open your eyes and gently come back to the starting position. Sit on the mat gently with your legs stretched forward. The recommended practice for this asana is to start with 5 minutes, increasing it to 10 minutes with regular practice. The limitations for this asana are somebody who's suffering with acute arthritis. Moving on to the second asana, which is the Padmasana or the lotus pose. Sit on the floor on a mat, legs fully stretched out without taking any support. Keep your mind and body passively aware and relaxed. Gently bend the right leg inwards with the help of your hand and place it on the right heel on your left thigh. Sole turned upwards. Now do it for your left leg similarly. Keep your knees pressed to the ground. Yes. Now hold your body erect, chin parallel to the ground, chest thrown forward, abdomen in normal contour. Place your left hand just before the navel and palm turned upwards. Place your right hand above your left hand. Close your eyes and passively breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gently open your eyes with the aids of your hands and release the legs one at a time and stretch them forward. The recommended practice for this asana is to start with 1 minute and then take it up to 10 minutes as per individual comfort. The limitations is somebody who's suffering from acute arthritis or any psychological disorder. The benefit is that it corrects the faulty postures, it brings awareness to your body, it helps in maintaining concentration, helps you maintain focus. Now moving on to the third asana, which is the Balasana or the child pose. Sit on your heels. Keep your hips on your heels and raise your arms close to your ears and then slowly bend forward and lower the forehead to the floor. Bend. Yes. Gently press your chest against your thighs. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now slowly come up on your heels, uncurling your vertebrae and relax. The benefits of the child pose is that it helps in deeply relaxing your back, relieves constipation, calms down the nervous system, contraindication is somebody who has a serious back or knee injury, pregnant women, and if you have suffered from a recent episode of diarrhea. Let's move on to the next asana, which is the Yogendra Vakrasana or the spinal twist fold. For this, sit on the mat with your legs stretched forward, toes together, pointing upwards, and hands beside the body, palms resting on the mat. Keep your back straight and head in line, chin tucked, abdomen in normal contour. Stretch both your hands forward and raise them to your shoulder level, palms facing down, maintaining a shoulder width. Inhale. Now exhale in 3 seconds, moving to your right and twisting as far as possible. Hold for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Now come back to your position while inhaling. Without taking a pause, exhale and shift to your left. 1, 2, 3. Now come back to the center and come to your rest position. The benefits of Vakrasana are that it increases your spinal elasticity, it stretches the muscle, it specifically stimulates the navel chakra or the Manipur chakra. It helps in reducing the abdominal fat and also helps in different digestive disorders. Moving on to the last sitting asana, which is the Parvatasana with variation. Parvatasana, also called as the mountain pose. Sit in Padmasana or Sukhasana, keeping your hands at your respective sides, chest thrown forward, neck straight, abdomen in normal contour. Now, inhale in 3 seconds and raise both your arms together from their respective sides for an upward stretch. Hold for 6 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, bend to your right, feeling a stretch near your left. Hold for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come back to the center. Exhale. And now shift to your left, feeling a stretch on your right. Hold for 6 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6. Come back to the normal position. Now bend forward. Make sure your hands are still close to your ears. Bend forward. Hold. 3, 4, 5, 6. Come back to the normal position. Now bend backwards. Do not overstretch. Hold for 6 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6. Come back to the normal position. Bring your hands gently to rest. The benefits of Parvatasana, it strengthens your muscles of your shoulders, arms, legs. It increases your final flexibility in the spine, hamstrings, calves, and tones, and helps in improving blood circulation. This should not be practiced with somebody who has a wrist, hip, or ankle injury and should not be suffered from spinal disorders. Now, we thank you all and namaste. Now I will ask my colleague Girija, Vasundhara and Brinali to take us forward with the demonstrations of the standing asanas and the pranayams. Over to you, Girija.
Thank you, Priyal. Vasundhara Parwar shall demonstrate some standing asanas and we request you to continue reaping the benefits of yoga with us. We'll begin by explaining the standing position for all standing asanas. Stand erect with hands at their respective sides. Keep the feet together or with 1 foot's distance. Ensure that your neck is straight and your chest thrown forward. The abdomen should be in normal contour and the chin should be drawn in. Focus your eyes at one point straight ahead. Some asanas may require you to stand with your feet wider apart. We will tell you as we progress with the asanas. Most of the asanas we will be performing today can also be done on a chair during your breaks in college or office too. Let's begin with the first standing asana, that is Parvatasana. Stand in the initial position, raise both your arms and join your palms above your head. Make sure your elbows are straight and upper arm is touching your ears. We can continue holding the pose and feeding the stretch as we understand about the benefits of this pose. Parvatasana stretches all your abdominal and pelvic muscles and loosens your hip joints. It helps to activate the waist and abdominal muscles and reduces fat around the abdominal area. It also improves blood circulation and increases the ability to focus. The next asana is the Garudasana. Again, beginning with the initial standing position, exhaling slowly and forcefully, lift your left leg and twisting the same both at the hip joint and the knee, wrap it around your right leg. Bend the knee slightly and gently to help secure the twist without any strain. Once the balance is secure, try to strengthen the right leg, keeping the body straight above the trunk. Simultaneously, cross the arms, the left arm above the right one, and twisting the hands at the elbow, wrap the left hand around your right arm and join the palms together. Keep the palms straight, pressed against each other, and raise them to bring the thumbs to your eye level. Gaze at the tip of the thumbs for a few seconds. Inhaling, gently release the toe hold and untwine the left leg. Simultaneously, release the left hand to return to starting position. Let us repeat the same steps on the other side as we understand about the benefits of this pose. Garudasana helps to loosen the joints by flexing and stretching the tendons and muscles of the shoulders, elbows, wrists, pelvis, knees, and ankles. It improves suppleness of the hands and legs and the body balance, endurance, and alertness. It improves neuromuscular concentration and improves your mental coordination. The next is Chakrasana. Again, standing in the initial position with your feet 20 inches or about 2 foot distance apart. Inhaling, clench the fists and raise the arms up, keeping the arm close to the ears and elbows straight. Interlacing the fingers of the upper stretched arms above the head, arch back the spine, keeping the lower body below the waist fixed. Complete the above 3 steps while you are inhaling. Immediately, exhaling in 3 seconds, unlock the fingers and bend forward and downwards with the upstretched arms kept close to the ear and touch the ground. Maintain this position for 6 seconds while your breath is sustained. Let us repeat the asana while we understand the benefits of this pose. The Chakrasana strengthens both the superficial and deep muscles of the chest and waist. It develops the muscles of the back, neck, spine, and shoulders. The anterior stretching of the major and deep abdominal muscles causes favorable changes in the abdominal pressure and stimulates intestine. It rouses a sluggish liver, colon, and provides relief in the case of constipation. The next asana is the Ekpadasana. Beginning with the initial position, using your hands, lift your right leg laterally and press the sole of your foot against the left thigh as high as you can. The heel preferably close to groin and toes pointing down. For those who cannot lift their legs so high, avoid placing the foot against the knee, but rest the foot wherever comfortable against the thigh. Balance your body weight on the left leg. Once the balance is achieved, join both your palms in a prayer pose and breathe normally. Maintain the pose for a few seconds. If your body sways or you tend to lose balance, try to fix your gaze at one point. Bring your leg down and repeat the same process with the opposite leg as we understand the benefits of this pose. Ekpadasana strengthens the muscles of the leg and spine. It improves body balance, endurance, and alertness. It develops your sense of equilibrium and calms the mind. The next asana is the Pavan Muktasana. Standing in the initial position, lift your right leg and bend your knee using your hands. Lift your knee and press it against your chest. For those who cannot lift the knee so high, you can do it at a lower position. Balance your body weight on the right leg. Maintain the pose for a few seconds. If your body sways or you tend to lose balance, fix your gaze at one point ahead. Bring your leg down and repeat the same procedure with the second leg. We will now understand the benefits of this pose. The Pavan Muktasana or the anti-flatus pose gives significant relief from flatulence by quickening the movement and expulsion of the intestinal flatus. Favorable improvement in cases of flabby abdomen, subnormal functions of the abdominal viscera, and the pelvic organs. It inculcates a feeling of letting go. Thank you, Vasundhara. Let us now calm our mind and soul with some pranayams. Mrinali Trivedi will help you understand the correct posture and breathing techniques for each pranayam. Let us begin by understanding the initial position for the pranayam. Let us sit in any meditative posture, either Sukhasana or Padmasana, or on your desk chair with your feet comfortably on the ground. Your spine should be erect, and it is best to keep your eyes closed. The first pranayam is the Anulom Vilom. We will first understand the mudra for this pranayam. Place your right palm towards you and fold the index finger and the middle finger like so. Moving on to the pranayam. Using the right thumb, block the right nostril. Inhale through the left nostril for 2 seconds. 1, 2. Now block the left nostril with your right finger and little finger so that both the nostrils are blocked. Now hold the breath for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the left nostril blocked and release the right nostril. Exhale through the right nostrils for 2 seconds. 1, 2. Now inhale through the right nostril for 2 seconds. 1, 2. Block both the nostrils and hold the breath for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the right nostril blocked and release the left nostril. Exhale for 2 seconds. 1, 2 from the left nostril. Block both the nostrils. Hold the breath in suspension for 2 seconds. 1, 2. Let us begin the cycle again. This time, inhaling from the right nostril as we understand the benefits of this pranayama. Anulom Vilom helps to relieve from stress and anxiety. Regular practice has known to be very helpful and useful in treating respiratory disorders such as asthma and bronchitis. It balances out Vata, Pitta and Kapha of your body. It improves lung capacity and oxygenation throughout the body. It is an effective pranayam for weight loss and seamless metabolism, an excellent workout for naturally glowing skin. The next pranayam is the Kapalbhati pranayam. Sit in the initial position. Begin with short, strong, forceful exhalations followed by passive inhalations. Both inhalation and exhalation count should be same. Ensure your stomach and chest region both are stable without any conscious movement. Slight movement is natural, but try not to do it consciously. We will continue the pranayam for a few seconds as we understand its benefit. This breathing exercise is mainly for cleansing the facial sinuses and improving blood circulation. Long-term benefits include slowing down the aging process and healing natural skin flow. It reduces sinusitis and migraine attack frequency. The next pranayam is Bhastrika. Sit in the initial position again. Taking in a deep breath and breathe out forcefully through the nose without any strain. Immediately breathe in with the same force. Inhale and exhale repeatedly, deeply and thoroughly using the diaphragmatic muscles with vigor. The abdomen moves out during inhalation while the diaphragm descends. The converse happens while inhaling. The movements should be slightly exaggerated. A strong nasal sound with accompanying such breathing. The process should be rhythmic and controlled, maintaining the speed as per capacity. We will continue the pranayam for a few more seconds as we understand its benefits. The Bhastrika pranayam has a favorable effect on the respiratory and digestive system. It drains excess phlegm from the lungs, oxygenates blood, increasing the vitality of all organs and tissues. It strengthens and tones the abdominal region, calms the mind, and energizes the entire body and mind. The next asana is a Shitli pranayam. Extend your tongue outside your mouth as far as possible without straining. Roll the sides of your tongue up into a tube. Inhale slowly and deeply across the curled tongue. And the end of the inhale, draw the tongue in and close your mouth. Exhale through the nose. Moisten the tongue and repeat the pranayam. The benefits of the Shitli pranayam are it is an excellent cooling mechanism during hot weather. It helps to cool down before sleep, regulates muscle relaxation, and quietens the mind. It can also lower blood pressure. The last pranayam is the Bhramari pranayam. Let us again sit in the initial position. Inhaling fully, then exhale slowly, smoothly, and continuously in a controlled manner from the nostrils with a little force, making a humming sound like that of a black bee. Keep the mouth closed throughout the practice. The sound need not be very loud, but should create vibrations. We will continue the pranayam for a few more seconds as we understand its benefits. The Bhramari pranayam has known to be very beneficial for the nervous system. It restores the elasticity of the lungs and is beneficial in asthmatic conditions. Daily practice induces meditative state and quietens the mind. It is beneficial in relieving hypertension and stress. It also reduces the feeling of anger and frustration. We will conclude our demonstration session with Om chant. Let's take a deep breath and chant Om. I hope you enjoyed the presentations about the various principles of the yogic lifestyle and the asanas and pranayam demonstrations. As we said in the beginning, our bodies are our temple. We should always attempt to keep it pure and clean for the soul to reside in. Yoga is like an addition of energy, strength, and beauty to your body, mind, and soul. When it comes to yoga, constant practice is indeed the secret to success. I would like to conclude with a quote by Maharshi Patanjali. Yoga takes you into the present moment, the only place where life exists. Wishing you a very happy International Yoga Day with the hope that yoga finds a place in your daily routine. Thank you. Back to you, Julie.
Thank you so much, Girija. We feel so energized, so fresh, so positive after this wonderful yoga session from our MSc students. Every demonstration was so precise. It was so beautifully done. Thanks to all of you for taking us one step forward to our journey in yoga.